I think what's going to be my last YouTube video. Because I'm sick of using YouTube and Instagram, but I can't stop using Instagram. Because there's some idiots trying to talk to me. I just feel like you guys work for Instagram at this point. No money. I don't know how I'm supposed to live because I'm anemic and I don't have enough money for the month to deliver food to me. And I still have to purchase a bunch of stuff online. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do about that. Anemia. I don't have anemia. Anemic means that I am going to develop anemia very soon. Anemia is low oxygen count in my blood due to dietary and exercise level concerns. So I haven't been drinking water as often as I'd like because I'm homeless. And because of it, I don't have access to legitimate food that I need. So I have become anemic. And since the weather's getting hotter, I might actually pass out and possibly have a seizure due to the amount of, or the lack of red blood cell count. And because of it, they're going to affect how I see and feel, since my body doesn't have enough energy to move around since I'm pushing a huge cart already. So yeah, I'm slowly starving to death. That's what anemia means. I don't qualify for an eating disorder. I hate them so much. You have no idea. I hate these people so much. The only reason they're doing this is because I don't like them, because I know the type of person they are, which is obvious. So painfully obvious to everyone. Except for that person who doesn't understand that they're being disliked because they're a shitty person who would do this to a person. Right? That's why no one takes them seriously. And I guess they thought I was the person that they should tell all their problems to because I'm their personal assistant or their therapist or their best friend. Which is what everyone else is saying. You don't even know this woman. I don't know why you're doing that. Why would you bother or something? You don't even know. But yeah, starving to death. I'm waiting at this location because I'm waiting for them to release Preston. And they said that they're gonna charge me and they can't waive the fees, which is just extortion. And I'm going to have to file for reimbursement later. And I'm like, I don't have the time to babysit these people because I'm not going to go and they thought that they could tell me you should board your animal here, and I'm like, I'm not gonna board my animal with these fucking clowns anymore. First time was a headache enough. Second time, what the fuck? And I didn't know they have antisocial personality disorder. That's what they're doing. The reason why they're doing it is because they don't know that they have antisocial personality disorder. And apparently some woman was like, oh, she's been planning on getting rid of my dog for a while or something. And I'm like, I don't even know you. Why are you so targeting some innocent people and animals? Oh, because she has antisocial personality disorder. That's how she's been hiding it. Yeah, people have been hiding the fact that they're sick, so they can infect other people with their sickness. Otherwise, they'd be forced to go to the hospital and go through treatment. And it was shown on the record that they were sick, which is what they don't want to show to other people. And I'm like, so you're just gonna stay sick and die a miserable death? We just live the normal happy life. This is weird. But yeah, the police stole from me. They still refuse to return it. And they think that they're trustworthy and good people. I don't want to tell them that they're not, because then it's another autistic meltdown with the eee, and then the I'm not a bad guy, you are. And I'm already fucking tired as it is, and I don't have the energy to put up with somebody else's kids. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna babysit your kids for you. That's just not what's happening. Why? They're not even paying me to babysit either. They're like literally telling me to babysit their full-grown adult kids, and I'm like, no thank you. I'm not babysitting your 35-year-old son who just got employed like a year ago. Okay, it just doesn't. It's weird. It's weird that you're even asking me. That's how I feel. Yeah, no, they're, like, I don't think they're doing very well, and they're clearly racist and very, very stupid. I just think, like, their IQ is very low, and I don't want to upset them, because people with low IQ are very emotionally unstable. They don't have the capacity in their brains to understand emotions. They just have emotional responses, and not always is it correct. Right, like they feel things and it doesn't really make sense for them to feel that way, but they do, and they don't understand what that is, or blah, because their IQ is like limited. Their brain's small. They got small brain, not enough memory, and their hard drive for them to run those files. That's why. And I get that. Like, I understand that's a very possible limitation a lot of people face, but now I'm just starting to like blame their parents, because it's like, okay, why did you make this? Like, you don't have enough money to feed this one. Like, why are you making it? You think you're just gonna stop being his parents? Like, he's gonna change, or she's gonna change her DNA when she gets 18 years old? No, you fucking moron. Jeez. I have a feeling that all their parents were criminals and they just fled here. But yeah, I'm like, no thanks. I don't have time or the energy to babysit your grown adult son or daughter. No, I don't have to. No, it's not illegal for me to say no to you. Regardless of however you may feel. Which is, I mean, maybe they're autistic too. It got handed down from like parent to child, genetically. Oh yeah, with people with lower IQ being emotionally unstable, like they don't understand how to make themselves feel better either. Like, because they don't understand why they feel that way, because like their brain capacity is just limited, and then they don't understand like what those emotional responses mean and what's going on according to the situation, which is why if anybody hires them, they're just supposed to just follow the rules of what's being written there. Except they don't do that because they think they're like everyone else, which they know is not true, but they want to be like that, so like they act like they're other people, and they're hoping that one day they'll be the other person. Or like fake it till you make it kind of stuff. Like, so they like, I think I've seen a lot of people like, they want to be a billionaire. I mean, who wouldn't want to access that kind of funds in their own name legally? How easy would life be, right? So they want to be a billionaire. So their response is to like act exactly like billionaires. And then one day they'll have $1 billion, and I'm like, that's basically what that is. I've seen a lot of people do this, like act as the opposite gender and you'll be the opposite gender one day. Act as if you were better than you actually are. Act as if you're your favorite role model. Doing everything that person is doing and you'll be like that person one day. I hate those people, like those types of people, and they make me have a huge pounding migraine. Like, they gave me migraines. And I guess it's because they're really stupid, and to dumb myself down and then have them not understand this, it's painful for me to understand this. It's so painful for me to see somebody go through that. It's like, yeah, I get that you're stupid, but Jesus fucking Christ. Dude, like, can you just be stupid in like a acceptable way? Like, it's just fucking weird. But yeah, they're not good people. But everyone who's normal, okay, who's not a good person knows this about themselves. Like they know the type of person they are in relation to other people in society. Like they're not like they don't, like some people do this, but the normal people, they don't wake up and fool themselves into thinking that they're, or trick themselves into thinking that they're somebody they're not. Right? Like I'm not a billionaire. I don't act like I'm gonna have $1 billion. Like I think that's insane. I'm not a man, so I don't act like a man. I'm not white, so I don't act like a white person. Like I'm not British, so I don't like pretend to be British. Like it's just, to me, that's just weird. If I did do that, that would be me making fun of them. Obviously, that's what that's for. I think they're kind of stupid and dumb, and like British people have antisocial personality disorder. Okay, I don't know who put that in there. I don't know when it became a thing from DSM, but like somebody really hated the British. And they've noticed that the significant enduring pattern of antisocial personality disorder was only specifically British. But yeah, I don't know if I'm not gonna be anemic anymore, because I don't get access to a kitchen or a fridge. So I can't refrigerate my food. I have nowhere to cook my food, so I have to eat instant food, junk food, and pretty much whatever slop that they're feeding. Hopefully it's not expired that day at the drop-in centers. But like, I can't live off that because there's not enough nutrients, and unfortunately I can't digest the supplements if I bought them, since I'm not eating enough and I'm not eating anything. That's like I need some nutrients for them to be able to break down and digest those vitamin and minerals and the multivitamin stuff, and if I don't have that already in my body, it's just gonna go to waste. Right? Like, it's just, what's the point of me taking vitamins if my body's not even gonna digest it and it's gonna come out of my poop? Kind of pointless, honestly. No. There's some weird guy who came by to like try to talk to me or something. He wanted to know what was going on and why like things were like this, and he wanted to see if I had anything to do with that. I didn't, honestly. Also, I found out that there were some people who were involved in some sort of weird political schematic and thought that I was attempting to join in on the other parties or their party stuff. But not with the right idea or right reasons. And I'm like, I didn't even know you guys were already doing something here. I'm just not even trying to get involved in anything. I just want a place to live and find a job. And they're like, see, we thought you were already involved in something or were trying to get involved in something so you can get those things. And I'm like, how is that possible? Even if I'm involved in some political rally, that's not going to lead to housing. And they're like, a lot of people attempt this. This is why we thought you were going to do the same thing, and that's going to cause problems. And I'm like, yeah, why do you think I'm avoiding those people? And they're like, we thought you were trying to look like you don't like those people to like get those people off your back so that you can do it when they're gone. And I'm like, you guys are seriously weirdly paranoid, and I don't know if you've been watching too many movies or too many TV shows. I'm starting to think those are real. You need to start getting out more and stop being so paranoid. Literally, like, paranoid people think exactly like how television shows and movies people think. It's so funny. Sometimes they describe it exactly how it's portrayed in the TV shows and movies too, which I find is hilarious. Paranoid being like excessive worrying about something that may be correlated with one another. Like, let's say you were wearing like this shirt that says I love coffee, and you forgot about it, and then you're like, all these people are like, hey, I love coffee too, nice shirt, great shirt, and you didn't remember, you don't know why they're saying that, and then you look down and you're like, oh shit, I'm wearing an I love coffee shirt, but then secretly you're like, I do love coffee, how did you know? I'm not even drinking any coffee right now, how would you know this? Are you stalking me? Or is everyone telling, like, oh my god, have I been like a victim of a prank, or like somebody's just been talking shit about me behind my back or something? These people seem so familiar, and then you're like, oh, I'm wearing an I love coffee shirt. And then that's paranoia in a nutshell. Yeah. That's called being paranoid. some people become paranoid when they're in very stressful situations. This is myself. This is very stressful. What people consider stressful situations. Apparently, this is what it's like if I went abroad to the armed forces and I needed to like scout the area or like hide from the army enemies or something, and I'm like, I don't even have any enemies, honestly. I mean, it'd be cool if I did, because then there's be like, oh, this is why I'm hiding from them. But I don't have any enemies because I'm not really a part of an organization or a gang or I'm sort of political affiliate. And it gets really intense here with the politics where people are like, you and they start like trying to like, yeah, and I'm like, oh my god. But I'm like, I'm not really trying to stay away from that. I don't want to be involved in politics currently because I don't have the time for it. But yeah, political debates or like new bylaw stuff. So when people like proposing new bylaws or like new legislative regulations, and when they do with tariffs and the FDA and like business taxes or something, or like zoning laws. When people are trying to overturn some zoning laws, they're like seriously like but look, going outside and like protesting and trying to get people involved into their like supporting their political rally of rezoning something, and I'm like, I have literally like, it's too much, honestly. I don't want to get involved, and a lot of them didn't believe me until now, where they're like, you're not involved in a political party, and I'm like, no. I think they're all a joke here, honestly. Like, this isn't even like, I just feel like they're getting, for all three political parties that are named, four actually, five. But there's Quebec Quad, Conservative, Liberal, there's a Green Party, and then the NDP. Yeah, all of them, all five major ones, like most people are in one of these, okay, in Canada, have gone so far from the point of what the fuck they're supposed to be doing and what they're supposed to be talking about, that I personally don't even know what they're talking about anymore. Okay, so like let's say there's a new zoning law and they're like, we need more residential lots, okay, so we're gonna have to rezone some of the lots for residences. And then they're like, no, we can still work with the current residential lots, let's just convert some of them into high-rise or low-rise buildings or something, and tear down like some areas that the people don't use, or rental units, and then we can like build on that, like they get a bigger like residential area going there, and then that's what they're supposed to be discussing and seeing if it's like applicable to the area. But then it starts to go into like, oh, I'm going to like fight for refugee rights and make sure that everyone in the entire world has medical care if you support my political party. And I'm like, how are you gonna do that? You can't even figure out what zoning you should go by here. You're gonna try to figure out the refugee things and the medical care in a third world country that has no access to internet for like miles, okay? There's one town and they have a major internet port that everybody uses, and there's only one company that runs it, and for miles nobody else has access to internet. Okay, there's one public library per 3 towns, like that kind of third world country, right? They don't make anything. Everything is an exported good. So they're like, oh, their major shipment is from shipping like, I don't know, mangoes and bananas and trees. Like that's where they make most of their money. And I'm like, okay, so how are you gonna do that? And then you try to bring up the actual thing. It's like, oh yes, I understand. So there's a new bylaw going on saying, let's let what is it, like parking bylaw. Okay, so we need more parking lots and like less regulations on parking meters and stuff because there's more cars on the road now. So we need to be able to use those and without having people trespass onto other people's property through parking there, or like parking on public but closed lots at certain hours of the night. So we need some more areas for them to be able to park in, right? because people have more cars and sometimes people don't always go by at the same time of the night. So maybe because there's more cars on the road, there's less parking spaces, it might lead to people parking in the wrong spaces. So let's rezone that. Okay, let's listen to regulations on that or something. And they're like, you know what? I think it's great to stand for environmental rights. I will personally plant 500 trees in the Greater Toronto area by next spring. I'm gonna spend majority of our budgeting for recreation on building and updating all our parks to, I don't know, like $3 an acre, or like $3 a square feet grass instead of the 150 that we're currently using or something. And I'm like, okay, I just don't understand how that's gonna help. Like, why don't you talk about the parking and the zoning first and then do that? It's just, I don't, why? That's literally what that is, what they're doing. And then I don't want to get involved because it's just a headache. It's just so jumbled up, and it's like, okay, just no. And I definitely know that I don't support the Liberals because they're very, very tax wasting. Okay, they're like, every person should always have tax money, and they need to have like excess amounts of things on them. Like, you know what? You need to spend at least like $50 per pound on asparagus, otherwise it's not even worth it. And I'm like, no, like, just no, stop that. And then they're like, no, like, we need to fight for homosexual rights and we need to fight for refugee rights. And I'm like, okay, there's literally citizens here starving, like, not even myself, there's literally citizens I've seen in the streets that are starving legitimately, and they can't even access like public services because there's people who are getting pissed and calling the city because they have to share the lot, which means that there needs to be better access to medical care for citizens who live here already. Why are you talking about that right now? It's just weird. Yeah, that's literally Canadian politics. And I'm like, I just don't want to even go there. I've been trying to keep away from it for so long. And they keep talking about it. And I'm like, do you know the current issue at hand? And everyone's ignoring it. And then until it gets to a point, it's not even the elephant in the room. It's a fucking ant, okay? It's a little ant. It's a fucking millipede or a centipede or like an earwig. It's crawling across the wall. It's such a small issue. It's like, why don't you just stop doing for 5 seconds and just talk about the current issue and then do that instead of leaving it for like, you know, that zoning law that you were supposed to discuss and have been done like a year ago. It's been like 5 years now. There's so many costs associated with it. The city's like bleeding money because, oh my god, like you could have just made that decision like 5 years ago and it would have been done, and now we have to pay all this extra money because you guys were too busy talking about something that didn't even have anything to do with that. Yeah. That's literally what that was and is, and currently, like, I don't understand. What am I don't want to get involved, and people have been very adamant on the fact that I need to be affiliated with a certain political party, and I'm like, I can't support any of them because they all do that. It doesn't even matter what they're trying to advocate for. They all do that thing where it's like, okay, can we talk about the zoning bylaws and, you know, current criminal justice regulations and then the employments and then the landlords and tenancies? And they're like, no, what we need to talk about are the important issues of the world. And I'm like, but those are important. And they're like, no, we have to solve cancer and get rid of COVID, and forget about that, we can leave that, and then we'll pay more just down the road. And I'm like, this doesn't even matter which political party I'm talking about, they're all like that. I'm like, why do you guys have 5 different political parties if you guys all do that? I don't understand. Why is that is? It's like, anyway, yeah. That's why I don't get involved in that stuff. I feel like a lot of people share this sentiment, which is why they left the country. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that too. And then now it's like impossible for me to leave the country. I'm like, I need to leave because I can't change like what 2.8 million populations in the city. I can't change all of those people's minds about the current situation, because they have their own ideas and their own assessments and their own judgments based on their experiences, but that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I'm not gonna go out of my way and explain this to everyone every single time and like repeatedly. It's just no, thank you. It's so like I would fall asleep after 2 hours. I'd be like, okay, I can't even, you know what, and some of them, they get offended because they think I'm calling them stupid for not knowing, and I'm like, that's not what I'm saying at all, and I don't know why you feel that way. What, you're supposed to know everything? What are you, like a fucking megamind or something? Or like huge brain and like currently always connects to the internet and everyone uploads data to you constantly in your brain? No, you don't know things until you see it and you learn it and you think about it. Anyway, that's why I get very upset every time people are like, which political party are you gonna vote for? I'm like, I refuse to vote. I'm gonna take my right to refuse to vote because I don't support any of them, and nobody that I've seen so far has supported the people that I would personally support. But I can't support them because I don't have money, and also I don't have that much time to support that person. So I don't want to get involved, and those are my reasons. And now everyone, it just seems like people are like, why aren't you getting involved in politics? I'm like, because I just don't know anything about it. Literally, I don't know why they got like that. I don't know why they got like that. I remember there was 3 major parties at one point, so it was Conservative, Liberal, and NDP. And then there was a Green Party that got more recognition, and then the Quebecois was always like a separate thing. There was a very small, it's like a cult amount of how small it is, but like there's always been very, very strong supporters for the party for a very long time. But it wasn't more so than the Conservative or the Liberals, or at one point the NDP. And then the Green Party was starting to get some traction. And there's a bunch of other political stuff, parties and stuff. But I'm like, apparently it gets really bad. Like, some people, like, literally end up in prison because they're trying to support their political party. They end up with a bunch of scams, trying to get people to vote for them. And, like, push for their legislations and, like, stuff that they want to get changed and get done and make it things legal and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? That's why I leave it to the people who work at those jobs. You guys do your thing. I don't know anything about it. I didn't even take a political science course in my entire life. So I don't know what the fuck it is that they're talking about, but I do know this. I need to go and do stuff for myself so I don't starve. And, like, have some sort of really bad, or, like, yeah, like, really bad, some sort of, like, how do I say this? So I don't get, like, really sick, or, like, my condition doesn't get worse. Or, like, I don't want to, like, start, like, and then, like, some random guy comes and, like, tries to, like, take all my stuff while I'm super weak from hunger and exhaustion. And I'm like, you can't fight that guy off. I'm just like, no, don't take my stuff. It's mine. And that's it. But I wouldn't have the energy to do that if I was hungry and starving and exhausted. I don't know how Gandhi did it. Didn't you figure Gandhi where he just sat and starved himself for how long? And then he's like, his intention was to get the British out of India. They're like, get out of India, British people. And they left. And at first I was like, why do people... Oh, they were being sarcastic. They didn't understand it. Oh, I saw a video. It was this guy named Just Ray, and he was like talking about how like all these Indian guys that he met, like his uncles and whatever, who lived in England or like he visit back in India, they were like all like super like, yeah, we love the Queen, like God save the Queen, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, and he's like really like weirded out. He's like, why are you guys? I thought you guys wanted them out of India. Like, why are you supporting the Queen? It's because he's living in Canada. He's Canadian, and they're like, oh, you love the Queen, don't you? And they were like making fun of him, being really Indian and like being kind of racial about it because he's kind of being racist about his heritage. And I was like, that's hilarious, but he didn't get it. But that's how he made that video. He's like, why are you saying those things? Like, oh, I thought, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, we're making fun of you because we're supposed to get the British out of India, and we did, and then you're still supporting the British. for being Canadian and you love only speaking English and you only love English foods all the time and you're very very white and like you don't support other Indian peoples. And I was like, wow, that's really really mean, kind of. But it wasn't mean until because he didn't get it. Like, he didn't understand what they were trying to say. Like, he didn't understand that they were being sarcastic. They're like, this is how you sound, but that's not really how he sounded. So that's probably why he didn't get it. But they're like, this is what you're saying, and they're like, oh, we love the Queen, go save the Queen. And they're like, you're making so much money for the Canadians, and we did all that work to get them out of their country. And they're like, it's pretty funny. I think about it. It's so funny. He made it exactly like he should be, but he didn't even realize that's what they were saying. Maybe that was his parents doing the parenting stuff, where they're like, oh, like just making sure that he would like be able to do things and he doesn't have to understand it. But as long as he does the right thing, it's fine, right? And it's just, oh my god. Yeah, that's called discipline or training your kids or like teaching your kids or whatever. So he was disciplined. If he wasn't, then he wouldn't know what that was and what to do about it. And he'd be very emotional because he would be able to pick up on the fact that they were trying to make fun of him. But since he was like, he can read and he's somewhat educated, he can say like not PhD level, but like somewhat, as in like I think he attended or finished post-secondary. But yeah, so he can recognize that these people are saying something and it doesn't make sense because it's not a thing to do with him. But that's what they're saying, and he got kind of confused. But that's how he's saying it. It's like that's how he's saying this. Yeah, that's his parents teaching him that kind of stuff. But yeah, if kids that didn't get disciplined, you could see like they just very emotional. They don't know how to express themselves properly, and they get very dependent and needy. And I'm like, and I thought it was really bad to like watch people like discipline their kids or whatever. But sometimes they're only disciplined for their kids, and it works for some kids. It's just ignoring them or like telling them to leave to go hang out at their friend's house or something. And I'm like, that's how you discipline your kids, and they're like, yep, that does the trick for it usually. And I'm like, this is weird. And they're like, yeah. Apparently, a lot of parents have kids that don't like them. Like, it's not, they're sometimes there's like they have kids that are like more closer to their aunts or uncles or like their cousins or something, but not really like their parents. And sometimes they have kids that are like their grandparents or something. And sometimes people have like, and this is just people that I feel sorry for, when there's really nothing wrong with the couple and they can conceive, and then they just have a kid who's like has Down syndrome or something, and it's like, oh yeah, that really sucks. Because it's like not the parents' fault and nothing went wrong during the conception or like birthing, but it was because like the thing. But doctors can do tests for it. So like when they do tests for that kind of stuff, what actually ends up happening is they give, so it's risky, so there's a chance that like the fetus can like die in utero, and the woman who's pregnant needs to like go through surgery to like get it out. But when they do the test to see if there's any like genetic deformity such as Down syndrome or something like that, they give the woman an option to abort the baby. So that's why they do the testing. So they test the placenta from the fetus, and then they run it through, and they're like, oh yeah, your baby has or likelihood of your baby having this. And they're like, you can choose to abort your baby if you like. And yeah, I think that's kind of sad, but not really. I mean, it's kind of sad in a like a very selfish way, but then kind of not really, because it's like, yeah, you shouldn't really be bringing that into the world, you know. But at the same time, it's not like it's like they chose to like conceive a retarded kid. Sometimes people actively do that. Like they drink while they're pregnant, or like they smoke, or like they do drugs while they're pregnant and the kid doesn't turn out normal. And I'm like, that's not right. That's not right. Yeah. But yeah. I'm tired, I gotta pee, and I've been peeing in a bag, and I'm tired, and I gotta pee, and I've been peeing in a bag. I have enough poop bags to last me for the next little while, which I'm really happy about. I bought a huge bag of poo bags, and it lasted me almost 3 months. So this is the second month I'm going through it. So it lasted me a full month, and then soon it'll be the second month, I think. What's in my... Yeah, so it lasts me almost a month, and then I'm hoping it lasts me through second month. And I'm hoping, oh, it won't last 3 months. Okay, so like it should last about 2 months. The gigantic case of poop eggs I bought, which I'm really happy about. I was debating, I'm like, would it be cheaper if to buy a little bit? Do I need that much poop eggs? But I'm like, I don't mind carrying all that extra poop eggs around. But the problem is like, how long do they last? And then it's like about a month to 2 months, depending on the frequency of its use. Because I have to pee sometimes. I don't have access to washroom, so I don't do that. What is it? I'm tired.